The 2024 presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party, the NPP, has identified voter apathy in 6 regions as a key factor behind the party's electoral defeat. He made this known during his thank you tour of the Ahiagbah region.
The visit to the Ahiagbah region marks the 3rd stop of the NPP and its 2024 flag bearer, following earlier tours of the Western and Western North regions. While the tours are primarily intended to express gratitude to party faithful and Guineans for their support, the platform has also been used, notably by Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, to reflect on reasons for the party's defeat. Dr. Bawumia has partly attributed the loss to economic challenges, the arrogance of power, and voter apathy within the party's support base. In the Ahiagbah region, he specifically cited voter apathy in 6 regions as a major cause of the NPP's defeat.
6 regions na accounted for 84%, 1.7 million of the votes. Omwamba, every 6 regions. Greater Accra, Nipa Omankoto Aba Greater Accra is 571,000. Omankoto. Ashanti region, Omankoto 429,000. Omankoto. Oshe Eastern region 258,000. Omankoto. Oko Oshe Central region 230,000. Omankoto. Oshe Western region 164,000 Omwankoto. Bono region 100,000 Omwankoto. 6 regions here ena yenya problems or how your strongholds because Oshe your votes are yenya no. These 6 regions omona omoma and the most votes so in the votes that we got. So anka omo beto abanoa anka results no a very different crowd.
Dr. Bawumia, who also served as a vice president, has faced some criticism for what is perceived as an attempt to distance himself from the shortcomings of the previous NPP administration. However, during the tour stop in Goso, he reaffirmed his confidence in the achievements and legacy of former President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, defending the administration's record.
Well, let's stay with a thank you tour, and we're joined in the studio by the party's Director of Communications, Mr. Richard Ahiagbah. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tor, and thank you for joining us.
Now, it rhymes.
It rhymes, I know, right? Now, this thank you tour is also expected to bring unity among the rank and file of the NPP, but over the few days that we've seen the tour take off, it's led to a bit of rancor. Is this the same, sense you're picking as a party, and how are you dealing with that?
Thank you very much, Vivian, and good to see you.
See you too.
I think that the tour so far has been good. I was part of it in the Western region and only had to return for some other important activities that we're engaged in, which is the May 5th demonstration that we're embarking on. But what I saw being there, I saw revival or some excitement in the party base. The party members were there. You can see on your screens playing excitement. The party people are happy. The General Secretary, National Chairman, the candidate, I think Kennedy Japan were the main speakers when I was there. The message largely focused on, one, to give some indication what they think were some of the key issues that led to our loss, and also to thank people, and in some cases, I think particularly the General Secretary, to apologize for some of the missteps that may have led to our loss. And so I think in that sense, it's unifying. As you can see on your screen, there's a certain ambience that indicates that the party is reviving itself and shaking off the defeat that we suffered.
But there's been a bit of reactions from some of your party members in terms of whether this is unifying the party or not. For example, if you've read the statement from the likes of Wache Ejako this morning. He echoed some concerns over the unity and says the party should pause and reassess its direction.
Yeah. Well, I read that, but I think that, and I've spoken to this earlier, saying that, I think that he should use the appropriate forum if he feels strongly about matters that he raised in his statement. As a party member, we are enjoined by our constitution to uphold the decision of the party at all times.
Even if it's going off course, granted members,
well, primarily
call you to order.
Yeah, but it is the decision of the party. The second highest decision-making body of the party, National Council, actually moved for this national thank you tour to be undertaken. So that essentially is the party's decision that he ought to uphold. Now, there's plenty different forums to raise his concern. And I've had people call me, also share some thoughts. People encourage that this thing is good, we should do more of it and all of that. So if he has any concerns, he knows where to address them. But the forum he has chosen, I think, is unhelpful. As a very senior member of the party, I didn't think that his observation, whilst I may disagree with them, the tour is leading to discord, or, likely to worsen and inflict more division in the party. I don't think I agree with that necessarily. But, if he feels strongly about that, the appropriate medium he can use to address them rather than issue a public notice. I don't think that I agree with that. But that is not to discount his feelings. But I'm only to say that the approach is not appropriate. It's not becoming of a senior member of the party. I think that he can do better to address the issue. If the motive is to contribute to building the party. We know we suffered a defeat. To come back is going to take some doing. And everyone must contribute, and he is included in that effort. But to issue some of these things, it hurts more than helps. And I think that he ought to take note of that and use the appropriate forum subsequently to address these concerns.
Following up to that, do you think others who have also started speaking around the thank you talk based on what Dr. Bawumia says should also refrain from making comments after he makes his statements as well during the tour?
I agree. Certainly, that's what we have to do. You see, there's a constitutional burden on all of us, our party, to say that at all times to protect and defend the good name of the party. That's a responsibility. Like we're sitting here, you have your producer, they're speaking to your ears and everything, if they have something to say, right? It will be wrong for any one of them to think that something is going wrong and just run and stand in front of the camera to begin to yell at you to say A, B, C, D. There's a process to do everything.
So everybody should go through that.
As a member and knowing the constitution of the party, everyone, we have a responsibility.
Okay.
To be able to go through the appropriate channels to address whatever grievances we have.
Right.
Because the structures exist for that.
Okay. The policy of the party is not to make the Professor Michael Quay report public. Is that correct?
That's the position, yes.
So how come we see some of high leading members making references to to that report publicly?
Yeah, I've had to contend with that matter. If you ask me personally, I don't think that we should be discussing them. But and I've made this point known at some point. But some of the aspects that are being brought out are not necessarily new. These are things that people have been able to, figure out, even when we're in office. The matters to do with the restructuring, it was open secret that people wanted restructuring to be done, except that we have a president who is the vision bearer, who is our leader, and because he's leading, he sees what we don't see and feels that the time was not right at the time when people were making the call to make the reshuffle. And all we have to do is support him in that direction. So I think that it's something that in retrospect, we're looking at it and say, perhaps if we had done that, it would have helped us. Had we won the election, all of these things would have been super. That Akufo-Addo is genius. That whatever step he took, it led us to victory. But in hindsight, you can make this decision, but it's not such that we'll say that he is to blame for it. We take a collective responsibility for that decision as a party and as a government, and we'll learn from it.
Some say that you should publish the report so that the discussions will be more constructive and more open, based on the fact that everybody can see what's in the report and react to it. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, Vivian, you agree with me. I'll use you again as the example. Where you are, there's a lot of production behind you, right? But then what we see is a beautiful Vivian on the screen, right?
And that's what it is.
That's what it's supposed to be.
In front and behind.
Yes, so the the front-facing image is what we are working on. The report as it comes, people will see the implementation that would come, the reforms that will come. That's the front-facing part. The production part, which is the rough matters of things, are going to be worked behind the scenes, and people will see the finished product. I think that's how it ought to be.
Okay. Well, what more should we expect from the tour? Former Vice President is in half an hour. What next?
Yes, I think tomorrow they will be moving to Bono region, and then Bono, I think they're going to break at some point to come back to Accra. But the tone of the tour is to say thank you, appreciate our party people who have worked hard for us to win the election but didn't. And this is to appreciate them, thank them, reflect on what the matters were that led to our sad loss. And at the end of it, I think in July, the party begins our activities towards restructuring the party. We go to conference in July. So I think that what to expect from the tour is what you are seeing, except more excitement will build as the tour continues.
Now, I have a message from a viewer who says that it appears Dr. Bawumia is distancing himself from the previous government's shortcomings as he speaks to party faithfuls during the tour.
Yeah, I know you've seen other write-ups that makes the point, but I don't think he is distancing himself. It's a way of speaking that if you were in the room, I think if you listen to him, you realize that he's speaking from a collective standpoint. There is no way Dr. Bawumia would distance himself because we're all together in that decision. If he made any attempt to distance himself, perhaps I'll ask questions myself. I mean, what benefit would that bring to anybody to want to distance yourself from a collective effort? And the record of the Akufo-Addo Bawumia era is what the party is, a party's legacy. We're going to run on that. What I can tell you without fear or favor is that in time, you're going to find out that our record is not that bad at all. Given the difficulties we have had to deal with, we did our best. And what I know for sure is that all the decisions, popular or unpopular, were not ill intent. The idea was to do the best possible for Ghana. And if things didn't go well, and I know a few things that we ourselves have issues with. For example, the DDEP was a very touchy matter. And I can tell you during the early days of the discussions, we were involved in trying to, the matters were difficult, they were tough. And nobody made those decisions lightly. And so we were fully aware, but the only thing was that it was just a necessary decision to make, notwithstanding the pain. And so what we did that, and today we are heading to a better place. My only prayer is that the NDC, who have inherited a better economy, will continue to build on it so that the difficult decisions that we have taken to bring us this far, we don't regress. And that's the challenge that faces us. But as for us, Ghanaians in time will come to see that we gave our best.
Okay, let's go to the issue of the demonstration. Now, you are intending to demonstrate against the suspension of the Chief Justice. How far with, preparations towards that? Yeah,
we're far advanced. Tomorrow, we're meeting the police to iron out the details of it, to discuss the security arrangement for the march. We are starting from the Supreme Court, opposite the Supreme Court, and going through Parliament to submit a petition there, and then we'll end up at the Jubilee House to submit our petition. But I think that everything is set. What I will say is that it's a very important demonstration. Unlike any other demonstration, I think that this is the most important for the essence of our democracy to be at stake. Nobody should sit at home. We should join in and send a strong signal to the government that No matter what no matter what their intentions are, we cannot be seen to be aiming at our democracy in a manner they are trying to do by trying to subjugate the judiciary to the will of the executive. I think that's wrong. Okay. Nobody should accept it, and we will not accept it. At least if we can do something about it, we'll not let it go. Okay.
Your final question. Some say you don't need to do a protest. This is a legal, constitutional matter. Address it appropriately. What do you say to those people?
That's totally wrong. This is not a legal matter. The lawyers would fancy the situation to talk about is the law. It's not a law. It's the politics, right? It's politics. All of these things. In fact, I recall back in uni, I was doing my master's. There was a paper I have to do, politics and law. Right? One follows the other. Politics takes the lead. The law provides a medium to address the challenges that result from politics. So this matter is fair and square politics. Okay? The NDC, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, is only using the law to drive his politics. Article 146 is weak enough, it's porous, it provides him the avenue to aim at the judiciary. So if anybody tells you this is a legal matter, they haven't breached any law, the person is trying to mislead you, to have you look this way when they are actually dealing with you wrongly on that side. It's politics, and it is politics. The way to address it is to demonstrate and send a strong signal to the government, to His Excellency the President, that this one will not tolerate it. It is not a partisan issue, it's a bipartisan matter that goes to the heart of our democracy.
All right, thank you very much, Richard Ahiagbah, Director of Communications for the New Patriotic Party. Thank you for joining us.